Hey guys, Sax here. I just want to say a huge thank you to the outpouring of support on this week's podcast. From the podcast, we like to break out smaller segments, so I just want to get ahead and make sure you guys know you've already heard this if you've listened to the entire thing. Just want to have it as a resource on the channel. Okay, let's get into it. Sam, I know that you have spent a significant amount of time with Helhest this week. You gave us a great rundown last week of Ningfei, and I was hoping that you might be willing to do the same for us this evening with Helhest and answer some of the questions that we have come up, and we could have a little conversation there. Does that sound okay to you?
Absolutely it is. Okay, so one of the first things I want to point out with Helhest, and a lot of people have been seeing, and I know they've been seeing this because Helhest has been a conversation starter with just about everyone in the in-game chats and whatnot about how good she is as a character. Right off the back, I will say she can be easy to mess up a rotation or screw up and then feel very lackluster just because her abilities and other stuff kind of lend to one being a support character, so helping a lot of your teammates with the fact that she heals, with the fact that she has ammo generation, and she also has that confined ability as well, which we'll talk more about. If you don't play her in a way that is effective, and I just mean like a good rotation in how you use her abilities, just how she's used in general, you're going to feel like she's lackluster. So I want to start out first just by going through her abilities and starting specifically with her drones. Her healing drone is very, very straightforward. There's two types of drones that she gets, obviously. She's got her boosting drone, her healing drone. Her healing drone, basically, once you place it, it'll continuously heal within a 10-meter radius. Once healing drone reaches its destination, it links to all allies within a 10-meter radius, healing them over time for 120 to 160 health per second. And then you can see the parameters are affected by healing enhancement and scaled with rapid deployment, meaning the level of your drone. But obviously the one that is a lot more beneficial, and I think people tend to use a lot more, is the boosting drone that increases the damage output that allies will do within that 10-meter radius. So her max output for drones is a 10% scaled with the level of her drone, which max level is 3. However, 3 can only be achieved by having the max talent, and so talent 6. Which I'll talk about a little bit more because I don't feel like her talents are super necessary. And that's pretty much the basis of her drones. Her drones will auto fire every 4 seconds, arc projectiles, and whatever you're targeting, the drone will hit. And then once you get 50 meters away from a drone, it will automatically be recalled and you will gain an additional charge. Now let's go to her second signature, Salvo. And this is really where her kit is all pulled together, right? When you use her Salvo ability, it creates a volley that you can target an enemy and it'll damage that enemy, but it also gives you 3 stacks of the Salvo effect. This gets crazy with one specific weapon that we will talk about very, very soon. This also confines enemies, and confined enemies get additional damage as well as allow you to restore health at the same time. So there's a lot of things with her kit that kind of connect together, right? There's just a lot. And it took me a long time of reading all of this to try and piece all these things together because it's so much.
I think when we get to see it in action, so I'm really eager to kind of see how you do that and pull it all together. I think that's going to be great.
Yeah, so it really is a wall of text. And the biggest thing that I would say to focus on with these is damage boosting drone gives you a 10% boost to your allies at max 7.5 at the bottom. Your Salvo gives you stacks and does volley damage, as well as confines enemies that are targeted. But this is where you kind of tie everything together, is her super that allows you to teleport a super drone when super drone is present. It increases the damage bonus and healing effects of boosting drones by 300%. That's insane. And caveat, I would say, when building a character out for the first time, always go in and put most of your effort into maxing out the relic abilities to as high as you can as fast as possible, especially if it's a character that you're wanting to build. Just because every additional piece that you upgrade in your relic abilities is just going to make your character pack that much more of a punch. And then here's where her 3 abilities then are all kind of connected together with this overclocked shot weapon mastery. All right. You cast salvo, and it grants the overclocked shot effect. It decreases your linear fusion and bow draw times by 50%. So now you shoot a lot faster. And it grants weak spots on the enemies as well. And so as you upgrade these, your overclock shots get stronger and stronger. And then level 4 is always a big one. So the biggest levels, I would say, is level 1, because you get the ability. And getting to level 4 is really important because it then unlocks an additional ability that goes with that overclocked shot, right? So when Helhest has salvo, she also is considered to have overclocked shot. And this right here, making linear fusion rifle shots fired reload a round from reserves. So you can basically just constantly fire your linear fusion rifle when you have salvo stacks. And that's crazy, okay? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then these relic traits, again, they boost potencies of healing drones for 4 seconds when you deploy them. So when you initially deploy, it's really, really good. Allies also gain additional speed on her second one when you use it. So it's good for speed running or getting through content faster. And then releasing the super drone upgrades all of your other drones to max. So that's what those 3 do. Now, I've talked a lot about things. Let's go in and look at it, because the way you have to put this all together can be a little bit convoluted if you don't really know what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that's kind of my top level with it as well. So as you're getting that set up, Rex, Flammel, have you guys played around with Helhest at all? Like, what have been your top level before we see this damage rotation piece?
I personally have little to no play on her right now.
This should be enlightening for us. So
I played around with her a little bit. Me and Sam were testing certain abilities that we'll explore later once Sam gets through his first damage rotation.
Yeah, he's
We'll
about to
definitely
dish out some wizardry. It seems like Flammel's probably at the lower end. I'm right in the middle, and I think Rex and Sam probably have the highest. So Sam, go ahead. I'll cut back to you, brother.
All right, so I'll show you here. Most important things with this, obviously, Royal Contravene is going to dish out the most amount of damage. Royal Contravene does have 2 modes. Royal Contravene's mode, you can either have the Combat Sights perk that allows you to fire a 3-round burst, and the Markran's Sight that is a slower charge, but chains arc lightning to other enemies around it. Personally, I don't use the chain lightning very often. I mean, there's some cases in which I do, and it's not as often as I use the 3-round burst, and you'll see here in a second why. All right, so let's get with this damage rotation. So the first thing I always do is I'll drop out a healing drone, then a boosting drone, then the super, and then salvo. Okay, that is to stack all the buffs in proper order and give me the most amount of time to do optimal damage. So I'm just going to go through it right now.
No one can prepare for this.
And there's 10 seconds. I would go longer, but you really don't need to at this point. As Helhest salvo at that point will have, worn down, and she won't have any more salvo stacks to then boost out that damage. But you can see within 10 seconds, you're hitting around 6,700,000 damage.
Here's the one thing I'd ask you. Last week, with all our damage testing, we did 15 seconds. That's what it is.
Yeah.
What does it look like 15 seconds worth of damage? Because that is wild within 10 seconds right there. So I just want to see us push it just for the sake of clarity.
Absolutely. And the reason I just said 10 seconds is solely because of the salvo stacks. But yes, for an Asaki's 15-second damage rotation, which likely won't be 15 seconds anymore.
yeah, not with that.
Yeah, I'll go through that right now for you.
This only ends one way.
All right, there you go. So an additional
Dang.
1.3 to 2 million.
Yeah.
Is what you're looking at for that. And quite frankly, you're not going to need it. You're going to have killed everything by that point. Her overall burst damage out of the gate is crazy. When you set everything up and you're in a good spot, it's crazy. Key is that you have to set things up the right way. If you don't, her damage suffers. She runs out of ammo, and you have to be careful of that too, because if you're not killing enough ads, you also don't generate ammo bricks. Next thing that I really want to talk about with Helhest is her artifacts, right? Now, her first two artifacts, I have yet to really get down what I want to use with these. Abundant Planetesimal is definitely not what I want, and you can see I have farmed a large portion of different artifact types, specifically trying to figure out what I want to use for Helhest. And I'm leaning more towards Ring of Abundance, because it grants that 48% potency to healing and overshields, which paired with Ring of Conversion, her healing will give you faster healing and stack your overshields as well. Because your Ring of Conversion gives you overshields. So I'm kind of leaning towards doing Ring of Abundance, Ring of Conversion for her for those two. And then the third slot is the absolute must for her, and it's her United Axion. It deals 140% weapon damage while affected by ally damage bonus effects. And this includes Helhest damage bonus. Okay, so any damage bonus that she does to herself, she is also considered an ally. And so she gains that 140% weapon damage bonus when she uses her drone, which is crazy. It's crazy.
The ability that she has to self boost in that way, that is very, very strong. So yeah, I'm excited that you have that. You've taken the time, obviously, and you have unlocked that. I think that's great.
Oh, yes, definitely. I took a lot of time to test it, and then test it with her Rampaging Pack to see how much more damage that it would do versus this, which this just doesn't compare whatsoever to the 140% weapon damage, and it runs out. Whenever she has a damage bonus, she has this up. So she pretty much has 140% weapon damage bonus all the time because of her drones. And then I tried to compare it with a calming token. Shots fired while stationary gain accuracy and precision damage, and it's still not even close. That 140% damage is just unbelievably strong and really makes Helhest a strong damage dealer for a support character. She's very, very impressive in her damage output, to say the least. That being said, she's very much hard to use with a large room of ads, right?
Okay.
Salvo is a great signature ability that gives that confined status, but also does damage to additional enemies around it as well. So it can clear a few ads, but Helhest does not do a very good job of clearing ads. Not only that, she's also double precision, and her bow is not going to be clearing ads like crazy, right? Now she can clear elites pretty well with the bow, but she can't clear lots of like thrall coming your way.
Yeah.
It can be very difficult.
Well, with that bow though, right?
Oh no, not with that bow.
Not with that
right.
bow. So I feel like we do have a conversation to have, but I want to hear the full outfit of your kit in the way you have it right now. Now, I do want to have a Trinity Ghoul discussion there, but yeah, I'll let you continue there. I just want to make sure we touch on that Trinity Ghoul because I've seen a lot of people asking questions this week.
To answer that question pretty simply right now, Royal Contravene for damage, 100%. Royal Contravene for damage. Trinity Ghoul for ad clear. That will give you far more ad clear capabilities than this setup will. Yoshimoto's a great bow. Unfortunately, it's also the only bow we have for her. I would love that if they had released more than one bow so we could play around with builds and stuff. But this right here is definitely her best setup for damage output. Now let's talk about the bow really quickly. I have been kind of going back and forth on these a little bit, but I would say her god roll is Annihilation and Black Body.
Okay.
Maybe some people will argue for Ensured Yields. However, while Ensured Yields isn't a bad perk, because Final Blows grant the next magazine 75% damage, and with the perk upgrade, the reload time is shortened. But this is every other shot that you do with the bow, right? Whereas Black Body, once you stack it 5 times, you're doing over 50% damage with the perk upgrade for every single shot versus your 75% every other shot.
I got you.
And I just feel the consistency is definitely better long term. Now, as far as tech for this, though, I will show you, because there is something really interesting about the way that bows work in this game, and I still don't understand it, and I think it probably needs to be changed. However, for the time being, if you ADS, right, and you shoot one bow shot, you're getting at 36k damage, right? If you draw all the way back and you do a single shot, you're getting 32. So it's a little bit less. But here's the trick about this. If you ADS and you just shoot one shot, right, you're getting 26 to 28, 28, 6, 22. And if you do the same here, you're doing generally around that area as well, right? But that's the kicker. If you're shooting full draw for 10 seconds, 230k damage, right? But if you don't aim down sights and you just spam shots,
Sheesh.
you do way more damage. You're doing about 50% more damage in total in 10 seconds.
Yeah, and you could see that in the DPS numbers as well. I think you were doing closer to 20k DPS while you were ADSing, right? Because it's just taking longer, like purely taking longer to get those shots out. And then as you continue to just spam those hipfire shots, you just see that DPS number is like steadily actually growing instead of dropping like it was with the full ADS.
Yes, definitely. And that's the trick with this. Not only that, if you're spamming those shots and shift canceling or sprint canceling, you can do it even faster, which is kind of insane to me. So if you just which is crazy.
That is
crazy, right?
That is crazy.
And at the end of the day, why would you ever full draw the bow when you can do far more damage long term by just sprint canceling, right? I was doing this testing with handheld controls, and I was able to do this about as fast as I'm doing it now with PC.
Really?
Mouse and keyboard. Yes.
Huh.
It was not as hard as I was expecting it to be on just touch controls, because I will play both occasionally. And so I definitely, if you're going to be using the bow consistently, that's going to be what you end up doing. More of that.
It looks so funny. More of that. Yeah, it looks so funny too. Like just like sending out these like small little like plink shots and stuff. But I don't think you would have any idea, right? Unless you could come into a robust firing range like we have here in Destiny Rising. Like that's the cool thing about these systems and stuff like that. So that DPS rotation is wild, like especially comparing to last week, right? But I think I actually want to do here is use this as a transitionary period into Estella, because I want to talk about what you guys were doing last night and how Helhest buffed up the Estellas with your drones, because you guys put in some really good times last night on Calamity Ops for what I was seeing, and I know you guys even did better after I got offline. What are your closing thoughts on Helhest when it comes to the actual support of it all? Like how she can play in team? Do you think that over time that Helhest is going to become one of those characters that it's going to be a necessity for teams that are really wanting to push?
There is one very unique quality, especially for Calamity Ops, that makes her so valuable. And I would add an additional benefit as well. She has ammo generation, right? That heavy ammo generation, and I know everybody who does Calamity Ops feels the pain of running out of heavy ammo.
Absolutely.
Every time. Helhest can generate that ammo and fix that problem that a lot of people have when they run. And this is solely from just clearing ads, getting rid of enemies. The other thing is that if you're able to, I know this is can be difficult with her talent tree, or tier 1 is great because it increases the rapid deployments to charge 2 when you first just release them, instead of being charge 1 and then having to use a second ability to charge it to 2. And you also get 3 charges. But this right here is very, very nice because while there are combatants inflicted with Helhest's own data analysis present, the encrypted network automatically generates 1 data fragment every 15 seconds. So you're getting generation every 15 seconds to give your team heavy ammo. And so that makes her very, very, very good in Calamity Ops with a team. And the things we were running into last night, the Estella's never ran out of heavy. Not once.
No. It was not even close on that aspect. Do you guys have anything else you want to sneak in about Helhest for this evening?
We got to show you this.
Yeah,
okay,
let's see this.
So keep in mind, my Helhest is nowhere near where Sam is at.
Okay.
My Royal Contravene is not 85. It is missing the 3rd Catalyst Band. So I am already 1200. Sam is at 73.4, I think. I'm sitting at 71. Sam has probably better artifacts than I do. But this is what we found that happened last night. Sam, are you going to have your personal on and I'll have Fire Team on?
Yeah, let's
damage testing.
Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, we want to be able to see the Fire Team damage that happens here. One really quick thing with the substats too. You want to get ability strength, damage boost, signature ability, and weapon enhancement is what you're looking for.
On her 3 and 4. Yep.
3 and 4. Those are definitely what you're going for those two.
Okay.
On the first 2, anything with healing, shields, defense are all very good for her.
I don't know what artifacts to run. I'm just running the 4 Arc exotics that I have, and they're working for me.
That's kind of how I do. I've been deep diving on Ning Fei right now. So when I pulled over and been trying to push up higher on Helhest or Rossi, I just like, some of these are like, okay, they make 0 sense, right, for some of these, but I'm like, hey, these are higher than others, so I bump
so
up.
It's weapon. Is it weapon, signature,
damage boost, and ability. All right, so we're going to do a damage rotation, but we're going to both do damage rotations. We actually found out that the damage boost from the drones stacks when you have multiple characters using Helhest.
We don't know how far it stacks, but we know it stacks with at least 2 of them.
Okay.
So you do recall. Yeah. So you recall Sam dealing roughly 6.5, 6.7. 6.7 meme is back. My bad, guys. But all right, Sam.
All right, so now we're gonna just run through a full damage rotation. You ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
No one can prepare for this.
And there you go.
Sheesh.
It has effectively doubled his damage.
Oh, it's unbelievable. When we found this out, you can see on the side of the screen there, it says drone damage boost twice. That is coming from both of our drones.
Wow.
And we were shocked when we found this out, and we had to keep testing it, and we found out that unbelievable, in 15 seconds, you can just stack the damage with Helhest.
That is insane.
It's crazy.
You also have to remember that I don't even have the C6, so I'm stuck at level 2 drones. Sam has the level 3 drones. So this could get even worse. With
even worse, yes.
Wow.
Even worse with a second C6.
And I mean, are we even sure that we're stuck at 2 stacks of drones?
No, we don't. We are not.
We have no idea. We haven't.
Sky's the limit. So this is hot off the press, folks.
We need another Helhest in here to see if it stacks with 3 to be determined.
So we have loaded the end of the podcast with probably the most interesting information for anyone who sticks around. So until we do the Helhest breakout and we have it in there and it'll be further forward, anyone who is stuck this late in the podcast, you guys are finding out some hot information so you can stack together. Think of it as a thank you for hanging out with us.